The Ombudsman's Office issued an early warning for San Andres due to the increasing actions of illegal armed groups.
The risk of human rights and international humanitarian law violations has increased in San Andres, Providence, and Santa Catalina, as established by the Ombudsman's Office in its early alert, which shows a complex X-ray for what is happening on the island, particularly for minors, as well as the strengthening of armed structures of drug trafficking and local and regional organized crime that are at the service of the autodefensas gaitanistas de Colombia, Clan del Golfo.
Where we warned about a series of risks and vulnerabilities to which the civilian population is permanently exposed, warning that there are indeed vulnerabilities and risks due to the presence and actions of illegal armed groups. It is important to call the attention that in this construction of structural early warning, we have called attention to the expansive character of consolidation that the Gaitanista self-defense groups, the Gulf Clan, have had, as well as calling attention to how these cells groups have been operating.
The Ombudsman's Office indicated that children and adolescents are the most affected in San Andres because they are being used for drug transportation and instrumentalized for contract killings, extortion, threats, and robberies.
In a very particular way, it has to do with the use of children and adolescents for the illegal activity of drug trafficking, as well as the instrumentalization of this segment that has protection as it is childhood, dedicated to illegal activities such as extortion, selective homicides, and illegal trafficking of migrants, as well as higher assassinations.
Data from the Ombudsman's Office registered an alarming increase in homicidal violence in San Andres. During 2020, the number of homicides rose to 38 and 2021 to 37, which exceeded by far the figures for 2019-21 homicides. In the first 7 months of 2022, 11 homicides have been registered.
Thirteen Venezuelan migrants and 2 islanders continue missing who seem to have left the island of San Andres about 7 days ago. Authorities state that to date there is no information about their condition.
Through social network, it was known that Venezuelan citizens with anguishness urged to know about the arrival of their relative who seems to be in the archipelago and sailed from the island of San Andres in a boat with a final destination to Central America. They have not been heard from so far.
The information that we have so far is what the social networks have given us, because really until today, including communication that I had with the Caribbean zone of the Nicaraguan army, says that they don't have any information about it either.
According to the captain, the perceptive search levels have already been conducted, and there is an active alert in the Caribbean so that any commercial vessel with a route in that area can locate them.
Also, the Costa Rican, Nicaraguan, and Honduran authorities were alerted, and logically our Coast Guard is aware of the situation. I spoke with a family member and acquaintance from the San Luis area who tells me that they did indeed go out and the boat had a mechanical problem. So far, this is the only information from family or acquaintances.
Once again, the National Navy is on alert at the disappearance of migrants who risk their life at sea to achieve the American dream. For this reason, it is recommended to the community avoid providing this service.
And as a result of this, the problem of illegal migration on the island has become a matter of concern for institutions that attack this phenomenon, so much so that it was the subject of debate in the Departmental Assembly this morning. Members of the Assembly summoned the different institutions that control the situation to know what the figures and what management were given to this problem.
The purpose of this debate was to know the current situation of migrants entering the island illegally seeking to reach Central America, as well as to know how the service is being provided, what is the status of the captures, and what control is taken of the entry and exit of Venezuelans entering the island.
This is collapsing the institutions. It is collapsing Migration Colombia, the MAR, port captaincy, the government secretariat, and incidentally the departmental government, because they are spending a series of resources that could be used to do other types of work for the community, and they are currently with the heavy burden of the number of migrants.
The Assembly made a call to the authorities that have to do with the immigration issue for them to inform about the result obtained and the work being done to mitigate and stop the problems related to illegal migrants on the island of San Andres.
El capitán manifestó que son 600.
The captain stated that there are 650 that have arrived in the last 2 or 3 months. 30 flights arrive daily, and 10 foreigners arrive, most of which are Venezuelans. We hope that the director of the OCRE will tell us how many of those Venezuelans that are arriving actually return, because that is how we will have the exact figures. Let's say that all the entities, the specific command of San Andres and Providence with its Coast Guard components, the National Police, the OCRE, Migration, and the Secretariat of Government presented an assessment with results on the issue of attacking this phenomenon.
And after the latest violence that occurred over the weekend where 2 people lost their lives, the National Police talks about how investigations are progressing.
The authorities in the department are trying to clarify the causes and find those responsible for the murders that occurred in recent days, who are carrying out all the relevant investigation, obtaining evidence that contributes to speeding up the process of these criminal acts that left to mourn 2 families on the island.
We regret the loss of these people, those who caused it. We have an investigative work in progress, which comes hand in hand with the Attorney General of the nation, who, with his technical body of investigation, we are doing a joint work, since they were the ones who had the urgent acts and they are the ones who advanced the investigation. But we as National Police are supporting them in this process. We already have some material evidence and some allegations.
So far, authorities have several hypotheses but rule out that the 2 murders are related, even though they were committed within a few hours of each other.
There are different hypotheses, but so far there is no link between the 2 homicides.
In other news, the election process for the new departmental controller is moving forward. Tomorrow, the candidates will present their work plans if elected.
Almost a year in which the Archipelago Department has not been able to choose the departmental controller due to irregularities at the beginning of the process found in 2021. By the beginning of 2022, when the election process was resumed, it was declared void due to the resignation of one of the eligible candidates in the shortlist at that time, causing the opening of a new process in July, which to date is maintained and seeks to elect the new public official. For tomorrow, the candidates for the position will state their work plan.
Mañana a las 9 de la mañana.
Tomorrow at 9 a.m., the Accidental Commission is summoning all the people who have already passed all the stages of the process for the election of the departmental comptroller. That is to say, the list of the eligible, the pre-selected. From there, the short list will be chosen. Tomorrow, the public hearing will be held at 9 a.m. In light of this, we invite the community through the media to attend and listen to the proposals of each of the candidates who aspire to become comptroller of the archipelago, which will take place next week for their election.
The officials who assume the position of departmental comptroller will have the task of directing, administrating, and coordinating the fiscal overseeing of the island.
And taking into account that yesterday formally ended the school week of recess in the department, the port captain gave a report of what was the maritime movement during those days.
A positive outcome of the week of recess were according to the port captaincy. The economy of the islands benefited.
Tuvimos un total de 4.
We had a total of 441 maritime movements with the tourist destinations of San Andres, through which a total of 9,361 passengers were transported. This is a very positive result, taking into account the passage of Hurricane Julia. Despite this natural phenomenon, there was no great variation in the movements that occurred last year. So we can say that the result of the recess activity for the local economy of the island was quite fruitful, highlighting the commitment of the Maritime Union that once the hurricane passed, they were ready to carry out works for the maintenance of the vessels and thus be able to develop this activity safely.
During the week of recess, there was only one violation of merchant marine regulations, for which a protest report was issued by the Coast Guard station, for which the corresponding investigations are underway.
And family members of a young accident man asked for help so that he will be sent to the interior of the country as soon as possible to avoid losing his leg.
I ask from the bottom of my heart to help me share. A mother is asking for it and need my son to get out of here.
With this request, the mother of the young man in the accident is asking for her son to be transferred as soon as possible to the interior of the country before he loses his leg after suffering a traffic accident a few days ago. Alexandra Ballesteros, in dialogue with Teleislas News, explained a little of what happened and what is the clamor of her family at this time.
Por lo comentado, mi hermano iba por la curva de la Virgencita, precisamente.
My brother was going around the curve on the Virgencita to a roadside vehicle was right in the curve. Suddenly he saw the vehicle going backward, and that's when his knee ended up affected. Cindy flew together with the motorcycle and Calderon. The doctor said that they lost part of his muscles, tendons, and part of a bone. He is currently with an open wound because he has to have another surgery. The reconstruction and doctor said that the wound, as it is open, is exposed to infection and that he should pray to God so that he does not get an infection. The doctor said that the most convenient thing to do is to transfer him to the hospital, but they have been rejecting the emails. For this reason, we are asking for the collaboration of public entities and the hospitals to help us with the governor so that they can help us.
It should be noted that the investigation of the traffic accident is being conducted by the Highway Police due to the fact that the place where the accident occurred is a national road. For his part, the Secretary of Mobility called on drivers to drive with caution.
Tenemos una situación bastante delicada donde los conductores.
We have a very complicated situation. The drivers have an eagerness to get there first. They speed in a certain way, they exceed their speed. They don't know how to drive, and these accidents happen. That is why with the different groups we give talks to pedagogy where we try to tell the community that they have to be aware that riding a type of vehicle like this also generates some tragic and unfortunate accidents. These are situations that we try to educate with the road safety agents. We have to be very careful when driving.
And with pride and satisfaction as regional channel Teleislas, we are informing the community that 3 of 4 programs have been nominated for the TAL Awards. Here is the information.
The nomination of the TAL Awards, recognizing the best of public educational and cultural television in Latin America, have been announced. Teleislas is proud to share with the island community 3 nominations for these awards.
This is a very important announcement for us in Teleislas that we want to share with all the community, and this is 3 nominations that our regional channel received in the Premios TAL. The Premios TAL is an organization that gathered the most important public and cultural medias in Latam. So this is very important for us, for you all to know that our productions, they are being outstanding not only here in the Department Archipelago, but also nationally and internationally.
Teleislas regional channel nomination are for Children Micro Program, Mi Mundo Interior from Teleislas. For Regional Musical Content, Golden Classic Teleislas. Journalistic Regional Program, Secuelas from Teleislas.
And now we continue with the sport news with Victor Fusalva.
Hello, here are the best sports of the island. Caribbean Storm Bucaros played a close game at the Ginny Bay Basketball Coliseum. An important victory for the Caribbean Storm team after beating Bucaramanga in a very tight game. In a close match, the Islanders were able to achieve an important victory, taking advantage of the errors made by the opposing team on several occasions to achieve the victory by a score of 68-67. Despite the irregularity of the Caribbean team mid-range shots, the North American Foster had a great night with 5 assists, 20 points and 7 rebounds to seal the night with an important victory for the island team. These are the words of Carlos Parra, coach of Bucaros.
Both teams had a pretty bad shooting percentage. from regular to bad looking at the score sheets. Ours shot 14 3-pointers and made 1. So one has to lose by force, because if they made 1 more, we would have won by 2. And the number of 3-pointers the home team made was 24 against 13 for us. There is 11 difference, almost twice as many as we've made and we've missed. We had the game, and we had 3 clear possessions in 2 timeouts at the end in the last 20 seconds. When you miss so much and make so many mistakes, you deserve to lose. The match could have been for anyone. We had 30 chances in the last 20 seconds, and we could not win. We must recognize that the Caribbean team is very well formed. They have a powerful roster to fight for the title, and they are an excellent rival.
Tonight is playing the last game of this series with an advantage for the island team. An important exchange was achieved by the Loma Roots baseball team in Panama. Thanks to the work and management of Laudine Smith and her group of coaches and the support of the departmental government through the Sports Secretariat, the little baseball players made a great campaign in the international tournament in Panama, thus achieving a 2nd place. The young baseball players were warmly welcomed by the parents and fans at the Rojas Pinilla International Airport. Coach Gregorio Steele expressed his gratitude and satisfaction.
I thank Miss Laudine. She gave me the confidence to be the manager of the Infantile that went away to Panama, represent San Andres and Providence. Well, the guys them did their job. Really, we have to say we didn't have the category like them, because really they are opposite us. We play in a major league stadium where they have everything. The guys them definitely, we could say that they have, like, make we say, a 70% ahead of us. They're better than us, but we still went there and we gave them the fight.
The exchanges are important for the small baseball players, according to Steele. What a good thing for these small baseball players. This will be all in sports for tonight, but we will see you on another broadcast. We continue with Lisa.
Thank you, Victor. With Sport News, we reached to the end of this broadcast. We see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. with more Teleislas news. Good night.